something. I think we're made of something.
Alright, so let's continue. Now that the stream is seemingly working. Okay, so what does a whetstone do? I have no idea what a whetstone does. It's a note. It's got a bunch of stuff written on it, but it doesn't look like a code or anything. Okay. Oh, shnikey. Is this food? Cheese? Cheese? There are a number of cheese lined up on the shelf. This is Gouda cheese, the most famous Dutch cheese. If you don't cut open the casing, it usually won't go bad. So you can store it in a room temperature for quite a while. So we can eat this? Most likely. I'm not hungry at all. I guess it's hard to get hungry in a situation like this. I mean... Hey, there's something behind the cheese. You're right. Why don't we move some of the cheese? Alright guys, time to move it. June and I need to look behind you. There's a little green bottle back here. Bottle of oil. Okay. Alright. Okay. So there's nothing else in there, okay. Oh, Snapsky. A rusty knife. I don't think we'll be able to use it while it's like this. The knife seemed important, Junpei thought. But, excuse me, but it wasn't going to be much use the way it was. It's futile. Futile? You know, a waste, useless, pointless. Oh, any particular reason you wanted to bring that up? Oh, no reason, really. I was just thinking about futility. She wasn't making much sense. Junpei tried rephrasing his question. Why were you thinking about futility? At least she answered. Well, it has something to do with the Titanic. The Titanic? Yep. Have you ever heard of the story that the sinking of the Titanic was predicted? No, I have not. No, I haven't. What is it? In 1892, 14 years before the Titanic sank, a novel was published. It was called Futility. It was written by an American novelist named Morgan Robertson. The story was about a big cruise ship colliding with an iceberg and sinking. Of course, if that was the only similarity, there wouldn't be any reason to mention it. It wasn't, though. The name of the ship, its nationality, course, departure time, size, displacement, maximum speed, number of passengers and crew, the number of lifeboats, even the location of the accident itself, and the cause, and the location of the damage. Yo, what's going on, Cat? Yo, you missed it. You see back there behind her? That's all cheese. Everything matches the Titanic almost exactly. It was almost as if he'd seen the whole thing happen. But this book was written 14 years before the Titanic sank. But that's not all. It was just futility. that predicted the sinking of the Titanic. There were 2 other similar stories written by a man named William Thomas Stead. Both of them before the accident. One in 1886 and one in 1892. Stead wrote 2 stories that had striking similarities to the Titanic disaster. In one, 2 ships collided, and many of the passengers died because there weren't enough lifeboats. In the other, a ship collided with an iceberg and sank.
Did you pick any items up? We found a bottle of oil behind one of the cheeses, and we got the wash stone, I think is what it's called, wet stone, yesterday, before everything messed up, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't too uncommon for ships to hit icebergs back in the day, or even other ships.
Right. I knew you'd say that. But what if Stead had some sort of special powers? To be more specific, what if he had the ability to do automatic writing?
What? Automatic writing? Wait, are you talking about that thing where someone says they're possessed by a spirit? And then they write a bunch of stuff without knowing what they're writing?
Yes.
What do you mean, yes? That stuff's a load of bull. Okay, so let's say, hypothetically, that automatic writing isn't a load. These guys still couldn't have predicted the sinking of the Titanic. I saw you signed up for Poke Farm. I have no idea what I'm doing. I signed up and everything, and I looked at it, and I'm like, I have no idea what to do now. Also, the chat screen is missing. Oh. I refreshed it just now. Hopefully that'll fix it. Probably not. Oh, oy vey. When this Steve dude wrote his thing, nobody had died on the Titanic yet. So if automatic writing is being possessed by spirits of dead people, who the hell possessed him so he could write that stuff?
That's not it.
What's not it?
Stead wasn't possessed by a spirit. He was doing the possessing.
Oh, so she thinks that he possessed someone on the Titanic to make his stories true. Yeah, there's the chat screen. There's a tutorial you go through. I can give you tips too. Oh, the chat came back. Awesome. But yeah, we can talk about that a little bit later, because at the moment I have no idea. But I'm sure I could figure something out, like look up a tutorial and stuff like that. What are you smoking?
William Thomas Stead was a passenger on the Titanic. He just wrote down what he saw with his own eyes, 20 years before it happened.
He decided it was probably best to say nothing. What June was saying was insane and utterly absurd. If he tried to take what she was saying seriously, he'd go mad. Junpei smiled uncomfortably. Well, why don't we talk about this some other time, okay?
Huh? But...
Her voice trailed off and she glanced at the floor, troubled. Junpei tapped June gently on the shoulder and awkwardly reached around her to pick up the knife from the box. We got a rusty knife. Old rusty knife. Okay.
There's so much stuff in here. A whole lot of cans.
This is probably a pantry. Probably. Oh, wait. Okay. There's milk in here.
Milk in an iron barrel? Judging by the rust, it's probably really old.
Maybe we shouldn't open it up. I don't think it'd be a pretty sight. Okay. So have we... I feel like we've looked everywhere. Knife to whetstone? Oh, that's what the whetstone does? Oh. Maybe I'll use the whetstone to sharpen the knife. I had no idea what a whetstone even was, to be honest. The blade of the knife is getting sharper by the second. I should be able to cut something pretty good with this. Dun dun dun! Oh, look at our sharp knife. I will get ya. I will get ya. Okay. So what could I cut? There's nothing in particular to cut. Oh wait, maybe some cheese. Maybe I could cut... Ah, that seems kind of ridiculous, but... cheese on the shelf. Sweet. What if I... Can I, like... No, I can't drag it. Okay, so there's no reason... I don't understand the reason to have a sharpened knife. Me no understand. Meats? What meats though? I don't see any meats. There's like nothing else here.
It's a bolt. And it's really rusty. Will this even open?
We won't know till we try. Let's give it a shot. Alright, let's see if we're gonna... Okay. Damn. No dice. Oh, wait. Oil. Of course. Maybe if I put some oil on it. Can the oil do anything? Oil is a lubricant. Exactly. Hey! Just a little bit of oil. And come on. Come on, you little son of a bitch. Whoa! Ha! Yes! Got you, you little bastard.
You did it, Junpei. You're so smart.
Oh, the freezer. Ooh. As Junpei walked into the room, a blast of cold air washed over him. Almost instinctively, he folded his arms tight across his chest, doing what he could to conserve body heat. Brrr, it's cold in here. What is this place? Are you blind? It's a freezer. Senta's teeth had already begun to chatter. Hardly surprising. The freezer was far too cold for someone to dress as he was. Lotus, however, was in an even worse situation. Oh goodness. Half-naked Lotus.
Oh no way. Oh no way. That was way too cold for me. I'll freeze solid in seconds. Sorry, but I'm afraid I'll have to pass on this one. I'm going to leave the rest to you.
And with that, she ran out of the room. As Lotus left, June came in.
Whoa, it's really cold in here.
White puffs of steam hovered in front of their faces as they talked. June had already started to shiver. Hey, you don't need to be in here. You had a fever just a little bit ago. You should stay outside. We got this.
No, I'm fine. My fever's gone now.
But Junpei had scarcely opened his mouth when the thunderous sound of metal upon metal rang out from behind them. In unison, they spun around to find that the door had been only recently come through. That they had only recently come through was closed. Junpei rushed to the door. Desperately, he grabbed hold of the doorknob. Ow! It was cold, beyond cold. Merely touching it was painful. The doorknob had been frozen solid. They quickly deduced that the pipe next to the door had ruptured. Water released by the rupture had hit the door and frozen it instantly. Santa shoved Junpei aside and pounded against the door. Lotus, she being naughty. Possibly. Hey, Lotus! You're out there, right? Open the door! She wasted no time in responding. What do you want? What's going on? The door won't open. Try opening it from that side, please.
Fine. If you say so. Hold on.
Soon they could hear Lotus on the other side of the door.
Yeah. Ugh.
Then the grunting ceased, and they could hear light panting as if from exertion. It's no use. Did she not notice it slammed shut? We've established she's not the brightest. It won't budge. You've got more people in there. You figure it out. And she's lazy too? Gah. God damn it! Santa was shaking like a newborn deer. June was hugging herself and was shivering violently. Even Junpei, with the heaviest clothes of any of them, was clearly feeling the cold. With every breath they took, they could feel the cold working its way deeper and deeper into their bodies. Anyway, let's find a way out. If we don't get moving, we're gonna be permanent residents.
Two heads are better than none. I'm sure we'll figure something out.
Yeah, you're right. Let's just take a good look around the room, okay? Right. They pushed in close to one another and began to search. Bruh, we got some sturdy rope. A water bottle. Okay. There isn't anything else that looks useful. Okay. Oh, no, didn't mean to click that. Also, isn't it always a good idea to wedge open walk-in freezer doors? Yeah, it is. It's always a good idea because stuff like this happens. There's some frozen meat up there. Looks like pork. Huh? What's this? It looks like a tag or something. What? I bet you we can't cut it because it's frozen right now. So let's keep looking. Dry ice. Okay. Junpei picked up the dry ice with his sleeves so as to avoid burning himself. Kundog, hey! There's the meat. Dry ice is just frozen carbon dehydrate, right? Carbon dioxide, dehydrate. What? Yeah, it is. I wonder how warm it was to get. I wonder how warm it has to get for it to turn back into gas again. Hell if I know. How's that gonna help us anyway? Oh, well, I figured we might be able to use it to get out of here. They were about to move when June spoke up.
Carbon dioxide's sublimation point is negative 109 degrees. Any warmer than that, and it'll turn into a gas. Any lower, and it becomes a solid.
Junpei looked at her, dumbfounded. How do you know that?
Teehee. Despite my looks, I'm
The clean? So I guess clean is a way of saying queen of random?
Clean. Bleh. Ahem. The queen of random knowledge. Looks bad to mess up.
Looks bad to mess up when you're showing off. Mumble, mumble. Oh, you're so cold, your mouth's going numb.
Eef. What's with...
Okay. You're just doing that on purpose, aren't you? June giggled and did her best to hide her guilt. At least she was still feeling good enough to joke around, Junpei told himself. Come on, guys, don't you think it's kind of weird? I wonder why it doesn't turn into a liquid first. Santa was now shivering at an astonishing rate, but his curiosity seemed unaffected. Junpei, however, was not in a mood to discuss science. He wants out of the freezer now. It did strike Junpei as rather odd. Sublimation, solid into gas. So random! So what do we want? Do we want to get out of the freezer now, or do we want to know why Santa finds that to be so? Out now? Okay. That's what I feel like too. His patience was wearing thin. How the hell would I know? And how the hell is that going to help us get out of here? We don't have time for this crap.
Actually...
Junpei stopped mid-sentence, surprised by June's interjection.
Under enough pressure, carbon dioxide will turn into a liquid.
This isn't really a good time for a chat about science.
But I was wondering the same thing.
Wondering what?
Wondering why carbon dioxide doesn't turn into a liquid unless it's under pressure.
Right? It just seems weird. Water's a liquid between 32 degrees and 212 degrees. So why isn't that the case for carbon dioxide? H2O and CO2 are pretty similar.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. They're totally different substances. Look, guys, if we keep this up, we're just gonna freeze to death. You good with that? You want to die talking about sublimation and gases? I feel like we chose the wrong thing. Because we're kind of being a douche right now. Because I sure as hell don't. He fixed both of them with a glare. Now let's get back to work. Assuming you don't want to end up like a pair of ice sculptures, Junpei turned around and the problem dealt with. Or so he thought.
There's a kind of ice that doesn't turn into a liquid when it goes above 32 degrees. I heard about it. Its melting point is 96 degrees.
Its melting point is 96 degrees? You mean there's water that freezes at 96 degrees?
Yeah. Well, you could also look at it as ice that won't melt until it's 96 degrees.
Water that freezes at 96 degrees? Ice that won't melt until it hits 96 degrees? I feel like this is interesting this time. Because we kind of tried to shut them up before and it's not working. They keep talking, so I think he's being reasonable. They talk too much. They do talk too much. They do talk too much. We have 9 hours to do this and everyone just talks. Just get to the point. Now that was difficult to ignore. Junpei had to ask, so what's this ice with a melting point of 96 degrees called?
I heard it's called Ice 9.
Ice 9?
Originally, Ice 9 was a made-up substance invented by a science fiction author. But recently, scientists have discovered that such a substance actually exists.
Wait, hold up. So this is called Ice 9? Or is it water?
Like I said, if the ice is over 96 degrees, it'll be liquid. If it's under that, it'll solidify. So you could think of it as a polymorph of H2O. Here, think of it like diamonds and graphite. They're both made of carbon, right? But depending on the structure of the crystallization, the hardness and structure are completely different.
So you're saying normal water and this Ice 9 are like that?
Yep.
She wasn't finished. And this is how the zombies will happen.
Have you heard the story about the crystallization of glycerin? For 150 years after the discovery of glycerin, people cooled it, warmed it, and did all sorts of things to it. But whatever they did, it never crystallized. However, one day in 1920,
some glycerin that was en route to England by ship was discovered to have crystallized during the trip. Naturally, scientists worldwide wanted to research this new crystallized form of glycerin and began asking for samples of the seed. A seed is, of course, a sample of the original crystallized substance. With a seed crystal, further crystallization of glycerin would be a simple matter. However, something very strange happened. Not only did the glycerin, encouraged by seed crystals, begin to crystallize, nearby samples did as well. It didn't end there. After that day, all glycerin in the world began to crystallize naturally when cooled to less than 64 degrees. Before that day, no matter how glycerin was cooled, it refused to crystallize. But once the crystallization had begun,
it was almost like, how do I put it? It was almost like all the glycerin in the world was communicating in some way that we can't sense.
Junpei, what? Are you doing Pokemon today? And sounds sketch. Yes, we are going to be doing Pokemon today. We'll be playing this for a couple hours, then we'll be switching over to Pokemon.